Hello everyone and welcome to Jendamark. Today we have got an extremely distinguished panel here to talk about their journey in Jendamark, what they see in India now and where the future head towards for the Jendamark group. Let me start by a quick introduction. First, we have got the founder and the group managing director of Jendamark, Quinton Uren. We have got director for digitalization and innovation strategy.
Something like that.
Something like that. Basically, he keeps his mind and everyone's mind extremely busy. And that's what Yanesh has been doing for more than a decade now. We have got Achim Blum, who takes care of the Jendamark Germany business in sales, service and strategy. And myself, my name is Himanshu and I am heading Jendamark in India. So welcome gentlemen, and nice to have you all in India. I think for the first time we have got all three of you. Achim, of course, for the first time in India itself. But I think it's quite rare to see both these guys who are actually trotting all over the globe at the same time under the same roof. The audience will definitely like what you guys are now going to speak because it's never common to have both of you on the same couch.
Yes.
So let me start by asking Quinton and maybe all three of you the same question. You can answer in sequence. How has it been for you to be in India in the last 4 or 5 days?
Well, okay, maybe I'll start. It's been absolutely astonishing to see the growth of EV. I was here, I come quite regularly to see the development in the space, the uptake in two-wheeler, three-wheeler market. Most astonishing for me is to see how Jendamark has responded, Jendamark India has responded to this challenge and this opportunity. Absolutely amazing.
I think just for benefit of the audience, Quinton is being quite humble when he says these things. I remember distinctively the conversation me and Quinton had when he was in Germany last month at the battery show, and he was behaving like a child who doesn't know something, and he was so curious, and he was like, I have to come to India to understand everything and anything about EV that you guys are doing. And first we thought of an online session to explain, but I just felt that it won't do justice. If you don't touch and feel stuff, it won't do justice.
You are 100% right. I don't think you could ever convey that in a virtual meeting. And it was very important for me to come here and see it and experience it firsthand.
Wonderful. Yanesh?
I only came for the garlic naan.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, as much as he doesn't look, but you are actually quite a foodie. Or have been a foodie.
I certainly look like a foodie.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. I've obviously been fortunate to observe Jendamark India's journey into the EV space. And I think I'd highlight 2 points, and I think this trip has solidified my thinking on these 2 points. The first one is Jendamark India is certainly leading the role in the group's strategy for EV. And the intention of the trip was to expand the strategy, to expand what we do here in India to the rest of the world, which is why we asked Achim to join. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing is, if you look at the adoption of EV battery technology in the different locations around the world, obviously the hotspots are Europe and China. They've had a very almost exponential growth in the space. But if I look at India in the last 4 to 5 years, that growth is beyond exponential.
Yeah.
So if I look ahead at the same growth rate into 10 years, who will be the leader, right? It's a simple logic to follow, right?
Answer.
So China has been the leader, they've been growing. Europe is in some respects catching up, or in some cases the same as, but India's still got some space to go. But look at the growth rate and I think you'll know the answer. So I'm extremely excited. I feel fortunate that we're in the right place to drive our global EV strategy out of India. It just has solidified it this week.
Thanks. I can go back to the day I joined, and I remember asking Yanesh the question, what is my job description? And he and Siegfried, he's not here now, but his answer was make them play golf more. And I still don't think I've done that.
No.
But it's a turnaround to think of it now that after all the years of Jendamark India being, let's say, looking towards Jendamark South Africa to lead and tell us how stuff is done, which we still do on so many topics, but at least there is something now which we can give back. And I think that's something which is very important for me personally, to have this point where you can give back something with gratitude, to say, okay, at least there's something which is there, which has been created, not just as in terms of investments or stuff, but in terms of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that's something which will stay longer than anything else.
I think the IP for most of the time has been from South Africa through to India. And what I'm really pleased about is now we're seeing a return of IP and understanding to build a better future together.
Sure. Which brings us to a third guest, Achim. First time in India. Apart from the work, what have you experienced?
It's not so easy to explain. So no, we had a lot of discussions about this before. So I'm dealing in Germany mostly with or in European mostly with German customers, and so the market is changing. It was always combustion engine, or Germany was always number one, and now there are a lot of players from all around the world, from China. Big guys are delivering electric cars, and the German market is a little bit crazy. So also when I visit our customers and there is new technology, I'm not allowed to go in. That's also why maybe the EV business is new for me. So we had discussions here, Yanesh, Quinton, whoever, Himanshu, about EV, what's going on, and now we decided that we come over to India here for the workshops. The first 2 days, it was in my eyes very good. I learned a lot of things, so I make a big step for myself to see what's going on, because it was not a complete secret, but it was new. When you are an engineer, you know you can work on it, you make next steps, but it's taking time. But in my eyes, I learned here a lot. It was very good, also from your team. And when we go to the shop floor, there's the first machine, or we visit some customers. It was very nice, and I was very surprised from a German view what you do here, because I expected it not on this level. That's what I can see.
Did you expect, when you landed in India, how Jendamark India would be?
In my eyes, when I see a machine, when I go here to the shop floor and I compare it with South Africa or whatever, when I compare our South African machines and when I see it in Germany running and you go into the plant, you don't know that this machine is from South Africa or this one is from Germany. And when you are now in India, when I'm now in India here and I go to your shop floor, it's the same feeling for me. I can't tell you this one's from India, this is from South Africa.
Yeah, I think that
it looks like for me it's on the same level.
I think that's with due credit the efforts which both teams have taken from South Africa and India, because to reach that level, I think it took 20-30 years in South Africa to be at a level where Europe couldn't make out a difference. And for us, it was obviously fast tracked because we had the experts coming from South Africa into Jendamark India. Took us 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
But I think I'm quite proud with the efforts both teams have taken to bring both countries geographically so far apart to a point where we can send equipment, solutions, assembly lines from here to you, and you can't make the difference then. So I think that's a good step for both sides where we have reached right now. You know, we all know there's no guidebook. We all three have been traveling, meeting so many customers, and maybe Yanesh, you can also chip in on that. How do we decide? Because everyone from my team keeps asking the same question and I don't have an answer. So I would like to ask that question to you. How do you decide which customer should be engaged in which way? No, because every time we have a discussion with a customer, we all three, we change our thought process and we try to adapt to make the customer understand better, or we understand the customer's perception better, but we always change our thought process and we don't go with a fixed mindset. So how do you decide, both of you?
So for me, a big driving factor is this customer just going to be a customer? Or is this person or entity can be a long-term partner with Jendamark? Customers may come and go, okay, but partners and relationships, they're the ones that withstand the test of time. And during a journey, you always hope that there's no problems, but it's working with people that when things happen in a project that you can work with. So that's what I look for specifically, is long-term partnerships and people that we can grow with.
Well, because I'm amazed to see the ease with which you have been able to engage even with the Indian customers who are not normally whom you engage with. I'm sure you travel mostly to US, Europe, and so there's a culture which is there in most of those continents, which is more or less similar,
Okay.
right? But when you now swing yourself into India, and last few days I've seen you engage with so many Indian suppliers, partners, customers, general public as well, but your adaptability to engage them, and I'll come to that question as well, to engage them, and they're all looking at you as if you have seen the guru now. So how did you?
He's the guru.
I
He
don't,
is the guru.
I don't think it's that. I think there's a universal truth about doing things with the right intent.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you go out there with that, I don't think it's as much as me changing my approach to the customer. I think they respond to that is your intent. People understand or maybe feel that they can participate, they can grow with you, and that a partnership is something important, it's valuable, it's something to be cherished. If you treat people like customers, they will just remain that. And that's, for me, not a good way of doing business. So I think it's just a natural response to people responding to an intent.
I think that I would disagree that I think every country, every company that is operating in different locations has different cultures. I think selling in Germany is not the same as selling in India,
Definitely
nor the
not.
US.
Yeah.
Certainly different in South Africa.
Absolutely.
But I think the universal truth is that all customers have a problem that they would need solved.
Well, some create problems, but mostly. Okay.
You said it, not me. But all customers have a problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah.
And I think the art in which you try to understand the problem is the differentiator.
Okay.
For some people, and I think it comes down to the personality in the room, not necessarily the country.
Yeah.
You have to play a passive role and listen. Some customers you need to play a more active role and put solutions on the table, and then they'll pick the solutions. And I think it's really, at the end of the day, trying to understand the problem the customer has, not throw solutions. So the moment the customer feels that you genuinely understand the problem that they have, they will relate to you, and then you can have the conversation. I'd say that would be the first point. The second point is, in a B2B environment like us, we sell to businesses. Our business sells to another business. So there's a business need on our side and the company side. That's pretty clear. I need a production line, so many volume, this is the process. The B2B need is kind of solved. But underneath that, there's a human need. So the production planning manager that comes and talks to us has a personal goal. The project becomes personal for them. So it's also understanding not only the business need, but that person's intent, their goal with trying to make their internal project a success. Because if they deliver the project record time, under budget, they're heroes in their organization. So if we can enable not only the B2B requirements, but also the individual requirements, and make them a hero by trusting, by understanding what's the two types of problems, it's the sort of key to it all.
So in simpler words, because many times I think it is easier for us, maybe because we have a position, but it's not the position. It's understanding the person in front of us, which comes to, or which should come to anyone without a position. It's because a lot of times there is a discussion, oh, it's easy for you guys because you guys are the top guys, and you can always talk to the customer the way you feel. But I think, and that's what even my answer has been, is it's not the position that you hold, it's when you sit in front of a customer and look at the customer and try to understand what is his problem and what is it that he is looking for. So if I can summarize that, it's what we always say is people buy from people. It's not business problem solution. It's people trusting people and engaging with them and understanding each other, and then the eventual result is the business.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so if I can now, let's say fast track from where Quinton, you started in 1989 to now this era of Industry 4.0. And we both have been debating and discussing of how, if I can say, the strategy specialists
Yes.
is trying or not trying, has convinced us to look at business of the software side in a different way. Can you take us through the initial steps of when this was thought of? Because
So-
I'm struggling with it still in my head since.
No, it's been a struggle. So he always gets mad at me. I call myself the rack and pinions guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm passionate about it, and we have a particular way of doing things. And I really got turned around where I had some dreams of being able to put out into the marketplace what was considered a crazy idea, this assembly line that could be doing different automotive components, for example. And I'm going to use this as an example. He and his team came up with a solution which it sounded so crazy using AI, okay, in my mechanical world to accomplish what I wanted. I was intrigued, but I thought it was going to be a completely academic exercise, that they're going to try it, they're going to fail, and that's it. 4 weeks later, they called a meeting. I came back from a trip from the USA, and I thought, capitulation, this is over. I walked into the room, and immediately I knew that they had succeeded, because the smiles on their faces it lit up the entire room. They proceeded to show me how, with AI, we could do positioning systems, which today they call Phantom, a product in the ODIN range. And then proceeded to show me this system, and I could see my dream of what I had was actually small. I wanted to do, in the automotive industry, an assembly line that could do particular parts, a corner module, one shift, a turbocharger the next shift, and maybe a water pump the next shift. What they gave me at the end of the day was I could do a medical device on an assembly line on one shift, one from the electronics industry the next shift, and the other shift I could do something from the automotive environment. And that was an ignition point for me, okay? And I've learned now today is how to look at an assembly line, change my thought process of how we would do a discussion with the customer, develop maybe a process within our consultancy.
Doesn't it shake your fundamentals of last three?
Completely. It shook every single pillar that I had, that I thought I was firmly rooted and had something to work with. And I had to evolve. Well, not evolve. I really had to change.
It's not a rebirth.
It is a rebirthing process. And so today, I mean, I'm looking at assembly lines.
Wasn't that simple?
It was not simple. And I have to apologize a lot to him for this futile struggle I had against him of not adopting sooner. Okay.
So Yanesh, for the benefit of the audience, give us your thoughts on what is ODIN all about? In simplest way, where maybe although he's on the 50 plus and still in this world of ODIN, we're all 6-year-olds compared to you. So if you can explain us how and what is ODIN?
I still feel like a 3-year-old learning to talk. So I think maybe let me use my favorite analogy in the transport segment.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just cast your mind back 10 years, and I said that you could get to work every day and back whenever you wanted, in a different car every day with pressing a button on your phone, would you believe it's possible? You wouldn't have. Yet today, ride sharing is everywhere. In Germany, you can pick up a car, you can go on an app, I forget the name of it.
Blah blah. Is it blah blah?
No. So you can see where you are.
Yeah.
You can see a car, order the car, walk to the car, open the car with your phone, get in the car, drive it to wherever you want, leave it there, and go to your meeting. So technology has enabled us to get from A to B differently. And I think what people forget and misinterpret the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, ODIN, if you want, as an outcome. It isn't an outcome. Getting from A to B has always been the requirement. I just now get from A to B differently. So the solutions that we have on factories on the shop floor today are not different outcomes. We still need to make battery packs. Yeah. We still need to make cars and seats and fridges. Maybe the product changes, but we still need to make those things. How has technology allowed us to make those things more effectively? Like you can get from A to B. It's the technology is a different tool in your toolbox for you to produce your product better. It is not the end game. Like AI is not the end game. It's a tool that you use in a product or solution to produce a battery pack more effectively, or to make a line more flexible.
Flexibility.
As an example of what Quinton was talking about. So I think there's a misconception that technology is the end game. It's not. Production, output, efficiency,
That's
operator
still the end game.
is the end game.
Yeah.
But how do we use the tools in our technology toolbox to improve the outcome? Make it cheaper, better, faster. And ODIN is basically a series of apps we've created using advanced technologies that enable our customers to produce their product better. It's really as simple as that. And I've been one that's fallen into the trap of being too technology focused, and you make a technology AR for the sake of AR without understanding the value to the customer, and you get down this rabbit hole and you're like, but why are people not buying my AR? And look how amazing it is. Because we haven't truly understood the problem. So I've changed my mind completely now, and I focus on really trying to deep dive in understanding what is the customer's problem first, and what are the tools that I have that enable me to solve the customer's problem more effectively. Because these tools are going to change. Customer's problem doesn't change.
So would it be fair enough to say, and I'll come to Achim in a bit for that, Industry 4.0 and ODIN are not necessarily the same things? It is not that ODIN is our offering to the world under the Industry 4.0. It's a part of it, or some sections are part of Industry 4.0. Some are just our ways of solving customers' problems, which we have been, let's say, understanding over the last 3 decades.
Yeah. So it's taken us 30 years to understand the problem.
Understand the problems, yes.
And so that's our biggest advantage. The fact that we have AI specialists and computer vision specialists and cloud specialists is an advantage. But the biggest advantage is understanding the problem. Yeah. And ultimately, ODIN will evolve. It is what it is today. Check the website, videos, etc., etc. Work instructions for operators. That was born out of South Africa coming out of apartheid and operators not being able to read. Yet they had many variants of engines to produce. So you had to put pictures. And we couldn't print pictures, enough pictures in the station, not enough space. So we put a screen there. And then we started to animate the screen. So we understood the problem, and then that's how ODIN evolved, right?
I think I can take the same reference to what has happened in India is the language. We are solving a big language issue in India where there are hundreds of languages, and there are people who understand in the same state. We have people who understand one language but not the other. And now what we have been able to solve with ODIN Workstation is give the instructions visually with some bold comments in the local language. So there's an immediate relation formed when I go into my workplace and I see a language which I relate to, I talk to every day in and out, I understand it. Because like you said, we have had workplaces before which are filled with A3 printouts, small pictures, even smaller text, and the operator who doesn't understand that language is supposed to read, remember, and perform.
Yeah.
And whereas what we now see is a big transition where it's, like we say, it's more human-centric.
Yeah.
We are addressing 100%. The problem which is there with the current human efficiency.
Yeah.
But Achim, coming to you now, from Germany with the birthplace of Industry 4.0, what is the value proposition ODIN offers or can offer or is already offering in Germany or in Europe in general, where the problem statements which let's say South Africa or Africa in general and Asia has are different compared to what you experience in Europe?
No, I think Odin has a full package. That's maybe the main thing. Odin has everything together. Maybe other companies have something of this, a piece of this, a piece of this, or maybe nothing. What Odin has. So the Odin scope in total is much bigger and much higher, in my eyes.
So are the European customers warming up to Odin as such, or is it you feel Odin is not for Europe or not for US?
I think it is for Europe and also for US. In my eyes, in my eyes personally, it's a good help for the operator. And also, not only for the operator, when you have the work instructions, whatever, the manager can see in real lifetime what's going on. Is it working, yes or no? If you have a problem, that's maybe the highest priority for the guys when they want to run the line. They must not wait till it's broken. They know exactly, okay, I have maybe 8, 9, 10 days, then I have a big problem, so I fix it now.
Yeah.
Or I can plan it.
So think about it. So the environment in Germany and in the US is very different. Obviously, it's much higher volume, but the biggest challenge that they have is high variation. So in the past, they would make 2, 3 variants of a diff, and they'd run batches. But now they can't do that. You have to have batch size 1, and you have to be able to adapt the number of variants because of mass customization on the line. So how do you do that cost effectively? You can't stop the line for 1 week and add a variant. How do you add variants on the fly? So their problem set is different. In India and South Africa, it's very manual, so you can be a lot more flexible.
But the other thing is, as well, in the United States specifically, they have another skills issue where operators are a huge turnover of operators. And the systems, the technologies now are able to train those operators quicker, get them up to the speed. Their ramp-up speeds on the production lines are far quicker due to the technologies that we deploy.
Let me sorry to cut you off there, Quinton. Let me ask you this question. As a CEO of a machine building company, and let's assume Odin adds value to your end customer, right? How much effort would you have to put in if you were to make Odin over and over and over on all of the 40 lines you've delivered with Odin? So imagine it wasn't a product and you had to do those same outcomes.
I think it would be unbelievable to imagine that if we didn't have Odin as a product offering, as a product, to keep on doing every time the same thing to ensure that the end result for our customer's product is correct. I think I can't even put a number on it, because honestly, we have now got so used to in our thinking, well, Odin solves this problem. Odin Engage will solve this problem. Odin Checkpoint will solve that problem.
Yeah.
So I think it's a way of thinking that we have now already embedded in our systems, that the moment we see something which needs to be fixed, we can fix this because of these products which we have.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we have to do it, let's say from scratch every single time, I think it would take a lot of time and effort for every one of us. Maybe you would have to have 4 or 5 times the number of people you have got.
Exactly.
And still not be sure.
And so what Odin has done is, as a machine builder, brought massive efficiencies in you delivering your product.
And for our customers, because they are far more secure and safe.
Yeah. The analogy that came to mind is, not in my day, but maybe in your day.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Big production lines used to run on relays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So you'd walk, I remember walking in Salzgitter.
click, click, click.
In Salzgitter, there was an engine line, I don't know how old it was, and you walk past it, all you hear is click, 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 these relays controlling the whole production line. And that evolved to a PLC. I think what Odin is that next evolution.
Yeah.
So PLCs made machine building much easier, much more effective. Now we don't even appreciate it because none of us grew up with developing lines with relays. So in the future, I hope that Odin becomes that. What the PLC is to the production line today, compared to the relays, is what I think Odin will be in the future.
Yeah,
is that efficiency for machine builders and the customer.
Because really, the problems that even MESs are trying to solve is what is happening on the production line. It's understanding how metal is being formed, shaped, joined together, how people are interfacing with the production, where are the problems, and all of that information, as it were, whether it be a laser sensor or part-in-place sensor, simple part-in-place sensor, resides in that PLC or with ODIN to be able to extract and offer up to a ERP system for the financial controllers to understand.
I think probably controversial. I think companies today buying MES systems for discrete manufacturing production lines, wasting money. Wasting a huge amount of money,
Because
and
I
they actually
also
don't understand it.
engage with customer and they're like, oh, we have got this MES and it is storing all the data. And I ask them, okay, can you show me that data? They don't even know where to go. And if they are able to bring somebody to show that data doesn't make sense.
And they'll never be able to adopt AI.
Yeah.
I think we'll go through the different steps. The adoption and digitalization, automation of data we're in that phase at the moment. AI is coming very quickly, and if you haven't got these first few steps right, you will not be able to seize the opportunity with AI. And if you are not, as a manufacturer, my opinion is if you do not adopt AI and machine learning on your shop floor, you will be losing out. You will 100% be left behind because your competitor will be much more quicker, better, faster than you.
But I think, so I 100% agree with what you're saying is what I'm seeing in many cases now, maybe it's same in South Africa or US or Germany, is this FOMO. It's a fear of missing out on having something which is actually making people do anything.
Yeah.
And then they end up in a mess, and then there is a general perception, oh, we tried digitalization, we tried digital transformation, this industry 4.0 is all crap, doesn't work for us.
Yeah, it's a hype cycle, right?
Yeah.
So you have the hype, then it drops to the valley of desolation,
but
and
I
then
think
it comes out.
The
right?
initial consultation part, I think that's where and I've seen us talking and explaining customers. We are one of the few guys who tell the customer, you don't need this.
Yeah.
And whereas what I'm seeing, because there is this fear of missing out on industry 4.0, there are people who are just going to catch hold of somebody to do something, and then industry 4.0 or the software solutions earn a bad name.
Yeah.
It's not the solution that is the problem, it's where it is deployed. It is not supposed to solve the problem.
Yeah, they don't understand the problem.
I think
But that's maybe the problem with Industry 4.0 in my eyes. How long is this topic now?
11 years.
11 years.
At the beginning, everybody was collecting data.
Yeah.
And they don't know what, but they collect everything. Everything. Since they had such a big amount of data, they only collect it because they don't know what they really need.
Yeah.
Nobody, they say, I don't know what I need in 2 years. Maybe I need this in 2 years. Maybe I need this. I have no idea. That was the start.
Yeah.
And now we made a lot of progress.
So Quinton, I have always, since the time last few years, I've always thought of you, or if I look at Jendamark as a big boat from the olden days, or let's say from the Pirates of Caribbean, you're that guy who stands on the top pole with this telescope, looking and telling us as guys in the boat below what's going to happen in the future. Yanesh is the guy who's probably steering the ship. Siegfried is holding the...
Not listening to Quinton.
Not listening to I hope so. I hope that's not the case, but yeah. Well, Graham is the guy in the engine room below.
Yes, yeah, sure. He's peddling.
He's like, listen, just tell me what should I do, right? and Sig is the guy actually waiting at the harbor. When you bring the stuff here, I get the goods.
Yeah.
So that's my analogy when I think of all four of you. Is okay, Quinton's up there looking through a telescope. Yanesh is the guy who's the captain who's steering the ship. Graham in the engine room below, sweating and making dirty and himself, and Siegfried waiting at the harbor there, waiting for goods to be delivered. So that's something which I always thought of. But yeah, Siegfried would hate me for this, but he does play an active role as well. Where do you see us going forward?
So, like I said, I'm trying to make this transition from a mechanical analog person to this digital. So it's just ones and zeros right now. So for us, the business has changed dramatically in basically the fledgling company ODIN, of the ODIN products being removed from the Jendamark fold. It's getting out of the nest. Jendamark Automation growing more into the United States and the European business, using a springboard of India as a strong manufacturing partner here with you guys in India, to be able to do more in different sectors. What we've experienced as well is with a range of products and our expertise. And we define ourselves as an automation company in the automotive space. But what we're seeing is that the technologies and the knowledge base that we've had takes us into many more industries very comfortably. where we had not been previously. Hydrogen, we're looking at things like storage of hydrogen, hydrogen plants, fuel cell applications, and
Medical.
even to
Medical devices.
medical
Medical
devices.
devices.
So it's been there's one that Yanesh is terrified of, is nuclear medicine. We've had people come to us from the nuclear medicine marketplace asking for our expertise, not only in the mechanical engineering but also in our Industry 4.0 portfolio to be able to assist them.
You see these little red dots here. Nuclear medicine.
So I see a very bright future for Jendamark, expanding into much, much more than just the expanding in the automotive industry, but to other sectors too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Quinton. Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, Quinton had to leave for another important engagement. We're not that important for Quinton. But anyhow, we have got two even more important people continuing the chat with us. And maybe I can start off by asking Yanesh a question on similar lines, what I asked Quinton before he left. Yanesh, having seen Jendamark since a long time now, where do you see Jendamark going forward? And maybe more specifically on the ODIN side. What are your thoughts on where do you see ODIN going forward?
Yeah, so I think that we've proved over the last couple of years that the software solutions we've been developing and providing our customers adds real value. And we've delivered those solutions, and it's had a significant impact to our customers' operations. So as a result of that, what we've decided to do is actually separate ODIN product out into a new business. That business will operate independently. It will obviously allow ODIN to spread its wings beyond.
So you're ready to let your child go out now?
Yes, that's the tough part, right? You nurture. At some point, you have to let it go. So we believe that the time is now. So we're in the throes of setting all of that up, and the launch will basically be in the next couple of months by opening up ODIN USA. So we'll be setting up ODIN USA and setting up a sales team, deployment team, and first step would be to expand in the US as a purely software company with a set of integration partners, and then we'll start to roll out the same concept in India, South Africa, and in Germany.
So you all could hear it out. ODIN is now going to be a separate entity in the Jendamark family, and that's I think exciting news for all of us here to finally see a transition of a manufacturing technology solution provider to a software company. So
yeah, to be honest with you, in theory, it is a software company, but I think at the heart of it, we're a manufacturing solutions provider. Yes, the tool and the mechanism is software, but I don't want to take off my safety shoes. No. I want to stay on the shop floor. I want to make sure that I understand our customers' real problems. And if software at this point in time is the right step to solve the problem, then we do that. In 10 years' time, it may not be software. It may be something else. So I think that's the evolution of Jendamark over the last 30 years, is always trying to understand the customer's problem, solve it with the tools available.
Sure. Thank you, Yanesh, for that. Achim, maybe few comments from your side. We touched upon it briefly about your experience in India. In your experience now of couple of decades that you have been working in Germany with German customers, for German customers, do you feel, or maybe I should ask you other way around, where do you feel we are right now in Jendamark India to meet or exceed the expectations in Europe?
I think we are on a very good way. Or in my eyes, we are maybe there, but there's always a difference when you see what is for a German guy completely clear is for a South African completely new. That's also in India. Maybe, I don't know, is the German guy right? Is the Indian guy right? Is who makes the right decision? I don't know. But from my eyes, from a technical view, we are there. But what we must go over the bridge now with the cultural things.
Yes, I think you have touched a very important topic, which is something which even I experienced, having previously worked in German company is, I think technically, notes to note, books to books, we understand. It is the non-technical aspect, if I can say, the emotional aspect or the understanding of the person's mindset.
Yeah.
That's somewhere I think where there's a gap. And I think with you being now the bridge to exchange emotions.
But I give you an example. I'm now here for 7 years. I started 2017 January, and I always make this failure. It's not a joke. Well, when I'm under pressure, I make this failure. When I'm under pressure, I get an email from a customer, whatever. There's a big problem. I send an email to a colleague in South Africa, India, wherever. I say, hello, I need this. So I get an answer, and I say, hello, Achim, how are you? Are you okay? And I say, oh.
We are being very polite.
I'm feeling very terrible because normally I asked this question before, but in Germany that's not normal. In Germany, maybe 1 of 100 ask you, how are you? But normally they say, hello, Himanshu, I want coffee, I want whatever, tea, do it.
No,
And then it's done. So what is right? I don't know. Maybe your way is much more friendly than the German way, but that's what I can tell you. But that's I don't want to be bad to the people. I need something. So I don't want to be unfriendly or whatever. And I'm feeling not so nice after that's happening.
I think it comes down to understanding each other's culture.
Yeah.
So when Achim sends an email without "How are you," it doesn't mean he's being unfriendly. So we also need to understand that.
Yeah.
And when I send an email to Achim, "How are you?" I actually don't really care.
I know, that's the other thing.
You know, so I'm asking "How are you?" because it's what you do.
It's what you do,
But the
yeah.
truth is, do I really care?
No.
No.
You
So-
maybe, yes.
Maybe I do, but
Himanshu not.
but that's it's just an understanding. I mean, in the US, if you send an email and they reply, they won't say "Hi Yanesh." They'll just type.
Yeah.
And is that good or bad? It doesn't matter. It's just me understanding that when I receive an email from a US customer and they don't say "Hi Yanesh, how are you?" They don't even say "Hi Yanesh." They just start typing.
Yeah.
What the response?
It's
It's
more
just
like
the
you're
way
chatting in WhatsApp.
No, it's yeah, exactly. It's just how it is.
It's easier to manage and match because it's what is written.
Yeah.
You can see. You can. What you can't see is what you feel and experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important that we try and understand that aspect also. And like I said, work
Yes,
on
I think for
respecting
you,
cultures.
especially for India, to go directly to Germany would be difficult.
Yeah.
But when you go to Jendamark Germany with some German guys or German people there, it's easier. It should be easier. Or, I hope we will see a result in a.
We will, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I give you another example. I think in India, effort counts a lot.
End results.
Yeah, no, results count, obviously, but I think effort needs to be appreciated.
Yeah.
In South Africa and in Germany, like if Achim works hard and doesn't get the result, I'm less appreciative of the effort. However, in India, you have to show appreciation, even if the result is not there. Thank you for the effort.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that. I'll ask, as you know, Himanshu, but you didn't get the order.
Yeah.
So what? You worked 6 months on it, 24 hours a day. You didn't get the order. I don't care. But the point is, you didn't get the order.
Yeah.
Whereas in India, you would deal with it. I appreciate the effort. You've put in so much time and effort. You didn't get the order. It's okay. But I think, for example, those kinds of things, it's important for all the cultures and organizations within Jendamark to understand each other's culture, to not be offended, to also not offend. And then it also puts you, makes you better prepared for interaction with customers from different cultures. Japanese culture is completely different.
Yeah.
Chinese culture, it's completely different.
Different.
You've got experience working in China. It's not good or bad, right or wrong.
It's
just
different.
just
Just
different.
let's say we should learn to respect each other's differences. Everything is not going to remain the same,
No.
constant everywhere.
No.
Good. Which maybe brings me to the last segment of our conversation is how do you feel, Achim, once again, of being here, but not just today, now, but when do you see or how do you see yourself coming to India again, and what would you like to see in Jendamark? Any feedback personally for me as well?
No, I'm very positive. Surprised, the right word for this?
Yeah, surprise.
I didn't expect it on such a high level. Also, when we had this workshop with EV, it's really I learned a lot in this time. And
what
I
would you like
can't
to
say
see?
that I'm completely new in EV. That's the other thing. But
sure.
I made a lot of a big benefit for me.
What would you like to see next time when you're here?
I hope that you have some big orders for EV. maybe one big order for a German customer.
Wonderful.
That we are here with some German guys to make a pre-acceptance. I don't
That's a
know.
good vision to have.
That would be a nice vision, but maybe not in 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, not in 3 weeks. Yanesh, same question to you. Any feedback for Jendamark India in general, for me as a friend?
Let that happen so I can play golf. Wasn't that the KPI?
Yeah,
from
that
7
was a
years
KPI
ago?
for 7 years. I'm still fighting to get that.
And I still can't play golf,
Yeah.
no matter how much I try. I think it's a similar hope and vision to try and take the experience that you guys have gained out of Jendamark India and share that with the rest of the world in some way or form. Slowly, step by step, to know what we can't do, accept that, bridge the gap, and keep moving forward. I think that's what I hope to see. Just for you, I think that's your ethos. That's who Himanshu is. When you first quoted the cell sorting line, you
Oh.
royally stuffed it up, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But that happens. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
And so I think that failure is a result of the entrepreneurial spirit that you have, the need to always want more, to do more, sometimes too much, but that's how you learn. And I'm absolutely confident that under your leadership, we will achieve the goals that we all set out for ourselves.
Thank you. And I think on behalf of everyone listening to this podcast, especially in Jendamark India, I think we are 100% committed to make this vision a reality very soon.
Yep.
So thank you very much. I think it went longer than we thought, but I think it was important to share what you feel and not just the work part, but even beyond the work part, what we feel about the company, the group, the solutions we are working on, the customers, good and bad ones. So thank you very much,
Yeah.
gents. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.